Good morning. I've been feeling something of my personal process with my resilience. It's interesting to feel into it because resilience can turn into resistance. It can turn into a wall in order to survive and overcome. It's just interesting to feel how in my soul I have such a propensity to flow with love and to just magnetize to love wherever love wants to take me, surrendering to the challenges of it, to the goodness of it, to the openings. Love is always the invitation to pick myself back up again and keep going, because there will always be a strong belief in love in my heart and in my soul. And of course, that's my divine devotion connection as well. It's really a devotional frequency in my soul. And of course, this is mixed though, because I also feel in my soul how sometimes that's created this crusade for love. So it's become a love warrior sort of situation in some ways. I'm not really sure how much actual battling my soul has done, but I'm sure there's been something, but it's more like priestesses. I feel a lot of priestesses having to fight the patriarchy, having to fend off, especially the masculine, but just contending with life in a lot of ways. So we think of priestesses as having had this magical existence, and in some lifetimes, yes, in some timelines. However, I've felt a lot of priestess trauma, and some of that is linked to the patriarchal frequencies from many, many lifetimes, and some of which we're still dealing with today. And in those lifetimes, it would have been a luxury to take that inward and go, why are we drawing this? Let's actually look at what's happening inside, or what do we need to surrender to? Actually, that's an empowered surrender of the times that we're living in, or what can we do to move away from this timeline and into something more nourishing. I don't think that was really possible for them. But so for them, though, there's still this divine devotion, this love devotion in their consciousness, where they felt like all of this was on behalf of love, on behalf of the divine, on behalf of the goddess especially. And so for me as Kasha in this lifetime, it's very confusing for them when they start to download, they start to come through and be felt by me. They get very confused about, wait, but you have space. You don't have to worry about survival against the patriarchy in this lifetime. What you have to do is feel us and feel the divine in this other way, in this actually softer yet still very strong way that isn't asking you to go to war, that isn't asking you to fight anything. And that's so contradictory to their consciousness and what they are used to living into in their lifetimes. So it's a very interesting conundrum that they're locked into when they connect with me and my heart and my lover's heart. And so there's a resilience in them for their own sake, but then there's a wall in them to the softer side of love, the achy side of love, the mate achy aspects of love that actually longs for the masculine. All of them actually long for a nourishing masculine. And in some of their lifetimes, they did have that, but many priestesses in my soul did not have that with men. Yet I think always wanted it. There was always a desire for men to provide safety and care and show up in a way that wasn't tyrannical or cruel or squashing of their power, something that was actually supportive. And so they get very confused about how to relate to men through me too, which is actually kind of awkward and funny in moments, but also could be quite fiery with men, with the masculine, and even the masculine within women sometimes too that I've served. They've been quite, and they've needed to help me be strong sometimes. And that's great, but also helping them soften has been such a journey. So I'm just feeling personally in my process, again, feeling into that resilience that comes, I think, a lot of the time from them. It's a beautiful thing to have resilience. We all need it. But when it turns into resistance, really tracking that, those walls, and I just feel the divine, just especially Divine Mother, just inviting me to bring my lover's heart forward to them and with them, and really holding that line with them. I could see them kind of on the edge of a border, like a borderlands kind of feeling, and where they're in their dimension, like over here, and they're kind of created a wall between my being. They're very protective of me. All of these priestesses I've connected with have become very protective of me over these years, and they have created this, I could see them standing kind of side by side and projecting that what they're protecting me from, so the other side of this border is quite desolate and hard and battle-y and all of that. But what I just did with them was I just energized from my heart as Kasha. I just put out this like golden pink rose colored light along this borderline to just energize to them, like it's gonna be okay. There's nothing to fear. And I could feel Mother helping energize that too. And I can feel my galactic aspects from Lyra and Sirius that is just opening up right now as Lionsgate approaches. I can feel my lion pride, my galactic lion pride that I connect with very deeply around this time of year every year. And I can feel them too also encouraging courage and continuing to move forward, but not with resistance, with resilience, but not letting it flip over into resistance, but yet feeling that there's an innate safety in my being. And the other thing with my propensity to love that I'm encouraging these priestesses to embrace, and even in that process this morning, in a process I had yesterday morning with them, was, when it comes to following love, it's never going to be predictable, and it's going to get messy, and it's going to be a surprise. They don't like surprises. So again, that survival thing comes in. I just felt with them how inside of my being, I need to be able to fall in love, and not just with a man, but with the people that I serve, with the souls that come to me for support. And there's been some kind of cap that they've created on that, just because of what I've personally been through while being in that seat of being the lover mate and then also being the healer. And I can feel that starting to reconcile though, and starting to loosen and soften inside of me and move into something new, which is just so valuable for me to feel. And I can feel my inner lover energy, who I call Amariel. I can feel her starting to light up again and have ways of expression in my life. So I wanted to share that because I feel like this speaks to something that a lot of women have inside of them. So even if you're a man listening to this, thank you. If you're a man listening to this, that's very touching actually. Or if you're an inner protector, masculine inside of a woman, or a priestess inside of a woman, this is just your invitation to just feel an honoring of your resilience that you've had to have from many lifetimes. And then also inviting a nuanced sort of sensitivity inside of you to feel where that flips over into resistance to love, actually. creates a blind spot for when love is truly knocking on your door. For example, for women, a good man, a genuinely good, kind-hearted man who really is a king awakening, who wants to be supported by your queen and to support your queen. This is an invitation to really feel that and acknowledge that coming in, because I know personally I would probably have a blind spot to that too, though my beloveds around me would be like, you gotta pay attention over here. But it just in general, to let in the goodness that love is bringing in to your life. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. I know there's a lot of patriarchal stuff going on. The matrix is very intense. Things are intensifying again. And yet, you know, the real courage isn't to fight it. The real courage is to love. And not in a transcendent way. We're really, truly invited, and I feel so reminded of this again for myself too, truly invited to have the courage to love everything inside of us, to love the resistance to love going on inside and around us, to appreciate with compassion where it comes from, even if we have to set boundaries with it, because we need to focus on love, flowing with love, and follow that stream of love wherever it's taking you, into a no or into a yes, and being curious about both the no's and the yeses that it wants to invite you to feel. Thank you for tuning in. It feels sweet to share from just the heart of where I'm going personally right now with all of you. Much love.